Did you go to Nautilus for middle school?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry to see you there. I always wondered what happened to you, sir.
Oh my goodness.
Verdict Form B. We, the jury, find the defendant Daniel Villegas not guilty of
ability to pay restitution.
Courtroom.
This is 49-year-old Arthur Booth, who is facing burglary charges. Booth was arrested in Hialeah, Florida, after he was spotted leaving a burglary scene. During a bond hearing, Arthur Booth appeared before Judge Glazer to plead his case. He's being charged with burglary, grand theft, fleeing the police, and resisting arrest. After explaining the details of his bond, the judge noticed that Booth's face looked familiar.
F15-13303. Okay, Mr. Booth, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go to Nautilus for middle school?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry to see you there. I always wondered what happened to you, sir.
Oh my goodness.
Judge Glazer and Arthur Booth attended the same middle school. It was an emotional moment in the courtroom as the judge went on to say more about the man in his dock.
This is the nicest kid in middle school.
Oh my goodness.
He was the best kid in middle school. I used to play football with him, all the kids, and look what has happened. I'm so sorry.
Oh my goodness.
Mr. Booth, I hope you were able to change your ways. Good luck to you.
Oh my goodness.
What's sad is how old we've become.
Oh my goodness.
Good luck to you, sir. I hope you were able to come out of this okay and just lead a lawful life.
After the brief reunion, the judge set Booth's bond at $43,000. The courtroom footage went viral, making it one of the most viewed courtroom moments.
Take care of your family, try and get a job, stay clean. You're going to do something good for somebody else. That's what you got to do.
But something unexpected happened. 9 years later, Arthur Booth was once again in Judge Glazer's chamber on a string of burglary charges. In one incident, Booth was accused of snatching a woman's Gucci chain from her neck. In other instances, Booth would pose as a maintenance worker to get into people's homes, rob them, and flee the scene. When appearing before his middle school judge classmate, Arthur Booth was so ashamed to look at his old friend.
Do you like this? Anyway, I can't hear your case, so I'm going to get another judge to hear it, okay? So if you have a seat, somebody else will be here. Hope things work out for you better.
This was not the only time a convict cried bitterly during their sentencing. Take, for example, the case of Daniel Villegas, who was just declared a free man after spending close to 2 decades behind bars for a crime he knew nothing about.
In the District Court of El Paso County, Texas, 409th Judicial District, Verdict Form B. We, the jury, find the defendant Daniel Villegas not guilty of...
In 1993, 16-year-old Daniel Villegas was charged with the death of 17-year-old Armando Mondo Lazo and 18-year-old Bobby England. Even though the police found no DNA or forensic evidence connecting him to the crime, they arrested his acquaintances and subjected them to manipulative interrogations. But that was just the beginning. They eventually forced Villegas to sign a confession they had typed out for him, admitting he committed the crime. In October 2018, Villegas got a chance to appeal his case. After a deliberation that lasted 2 days, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals found Villegas innocent and overturned his conviction. Daniel Villegas' emotional reaction to the freedom verdict after spending 18 years behind bars would become one of the most viewed court moments.
In the District Court of El Paso County, Texas, 409th Judicial District, Verdict Form B. We, the jury, find the defendant Daniel Villegas not guilty of...
It was such an emotional moment that the families and friends of Daniel Villegas couldn't control their tears in the courtroom.
Does anybody wish to have the jury polled? There has been a request that the jury be polled so that I can ensure that it is your individual verdicts.
In the courtroom was Daniel Villegas's daughter, who wore a top to show solidarity for her dad. His wife could not hold back tears as the judge thanked the jury for ensuring an innocent man got freedom.
On behalf of the state of Texas, on behalf of the attorneys for the accused, on behalf of the accused, on behalf of my staff, but most importantly, on behalf of your system of justice, thank you for admirably carrying out your civic duty to this great country. You are excused from further jury service. For those who are there, I will be back there shortly.
All right.
After declaring the jury's verdict, the judge declared Daniel Villegas a free man.
Mr. Villegas, you have been under many conditions in this court. You are no longer under any conditions in this court. You are free to leave. Thank you. Good luck to you, sir.
Daniel Villegas gave the entire courtroom a moment to remember. This next convict did the same, but in a more crazy way.
Have the ability to pay restitution.
This is Manson Bryant, who was at the Lake County Court for aggravated assault and kidnapping charges. On July 10, 2018, Bryant, along with two other males, invaded a Painesville home where they stole approximately $800. A gold nugget of ink, a phone, and a MacBook. During the court session, Bryant showed remorse and asked to be allowed to make something meaningful out of his life.
Last time before this time that I had him, I put him in prison for 4 years for a robbery. He acted out briefly on his way out of the courtroom, and I just let it go.
I'm thankful for the opportunity and afforded by the day in court, and I respect the decisions that the jury has made. I alone have the power, to end the cycle of incarceration, and all I ask is for you to give me an opportunity to still make something out of my life, sir.
Manson Bryant, the law allows you to say whatever it is you want me to consider before I sentence you. Is there anything you want me to know?
Yes, sir. Your Honor, I know you're very well aware of my history. I made a lifetime of bad decisions. And those bad decisions has caused pain to a lot of people in my family. For that, I am truly sorry. Most of my bad decisions have been driven by my addiction to drugs and to do whatever I can to continue to get high. My ability to stay clean has me to spend most of my life in prison. There's no way for a person to live. That's no way for a person to live. And it's not how I want to finish my life.
However, the judge was not moved as he lashed out his verdict.
And therefore, the order of serving your prison time would be PRC time first, followed by the gun spec on count 1, followed by the gun spec on count 3, followed by count 1, followed by count 2, for a total of 22 years with credit for 231 days. The court determines that you have or will have the ability to pay restitution.
Judge Eugene Lucci was still giving the verdict when Manson Bryant suddenly erupted.
Ability to pay restitution.
Courtroom, man. You 22 years.
actually, remember when I said you had some remorse?
You never gave me probation.
Wait a minute.
You never gave me a chance.
When I said that you had a certain amount of remorse, I was mistaken. The court determines maximum imprisonment is needed.
As expected, the judge added some icing to Bryant's sentence for his outburst.
Court determines that the defendant has shown no remorse whatsoever. I was giving him remorse, a certain amount of remorse in mitigation of the sentence. The defendant has shown me that he has no remorse whatsoever, and therefore the court determines that maximum imprisonment is needed.
The judge added 6 more years to Bryant's sentence, making it a total of 22 years behind bars. If you think this is the only time a convict displayed fake remorse to get a lesser sentence, this next case will leave you shocked. This is Dylan Shoemaker, a 17-year-old accused of murder charges. In March 2013, Dylan Shoemaker killed his girlfriend's 24-month-old baby because he wouldn't stop crying. Dylan was asked to babysit Austin Smith, a 24-month-old baby, while his girlfriend worked her shift at a restaurant. When the baby couldn't stop crying, Dylan slapped and slammed the poor kid on the floor multiple times. As he walked into the courtroom, Dylan broke down in tears, suggesting that he regretted his actions.
I can't take back what was done. I wish I could. I would give my life for Austin. I didn't mean to kill Austin. Actually, I really didn't. I really think I did that. I didn't mean to hurt him.
Before the judge gave his verdict, a representative from the victim's family approached the dock to make a statement.
This did not have to happen. He had numerous opportunities to get help, to ask for help. He chose not to. I just ask that you take into consideration our family's feelings and what we've lost and what can never be replaced. We'll never get our Austin back.
Dylan Shoemaker's lawyer fought for the minimum sentence, which was 15 years imprisonment. He argued that the incident could be a result of Dylan being inexperienced with babysitting.
Smith was completely defenseless. That's a given. But there were other dynamics at work there, including my client's inability to either control his anger or frustration and his inexperience in babysitting.
When Dylan Shoemaker got the chance to address the court, these were his words.
As you can see in my school records, I was trying to change my life around. In 2013, I was doing so much better. This completely turned my life. I can't take back what was done. I wish I could. I would give my life for Austin. I loved him a lot. Him and Christopher were half the reason I was even staying with Ashley. I felt bad for them kids because they didn't have a place to stay. I thought Christopher was mine, and he wasn't. I was trying to do something that my father never did for me, and be there. Ashley, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your son. And you know I didn't mean to hurt you. You just can't accept that because you know me. You've known me for 5 years. I never would have wanted to hurt Austin.
Even though Dylan gave a heartfelt speech, the judge saw through his crocodile tears and fake remorse.
That you are a manipulator and you try to deceive. The record will show that you admitted that on July 23rd, 2013, in a phone call to your mother from the holding center, you stated, and I got a quote from the court reporter, "I am a 16-year-old blonde. Probably all I have to do is cry in front of the jury and they're going to feel sorry for me," end quote. That statement speaks volumes to me.
Dylan Shoemaker was sentenced to 25 years imprisonment and is currently serving his sentence in Clinton Correctional Facility.
On your conviction for the crime of murder in the second degree, that you be sentenced to an indeterminate term of imprisonment which will have a maximum of life, the court hereby imposes a minimum sentence of 25 years.
Dylan will be eligible for parole in 2031. Just like Dylan Shoemaker, this next convict blew any chance for leniency. This is Levon Turrentine, a 21-year-old facing murder charges. Back in April 2010, Turrentine was involved in a heartbreaking car accident that claimed the life of an 8-year-old African boy. It all started when he was teaching 18-year-old Brianna Hightower to drive. But things took a devastating turn when, for reasons still unclear, Turrentine took control of the car from Brianna and tragically struck the boy again as he crossed the road. Neither Turrentine nor Brianna were licensed drivers at the time. He was later released on bail, but today he's back in court for possession of marijuana while driving the same car without license. When the judge saw that the person he set free last time was in his dock for a similar charge, he lost it.
I told you you were not supposed to drive. So what it tells me is one bad decision after the another. You didn't learn anything. You violated the law again by driving the same car that you already killed somebody with. You were not supposed to be behind that wheel.
It's not like I was joyriding or anything, Your Honor. I just went to the Chinese place to get me and my kids something to eat.
Did I release you on bail to say that it was on the condition you don't joyride?
This is Leonid Grazer, who is currently facing charges for murder in a Moscow court in Russia. The 18-year-old teenager confessed to the murder of his 21-year-old sister, Ariada Korol, after he was detained for 2 months. Korol was found naked with multiple stab wounds in the hallway of an apartment block where she shared a flat with her brother. The Russian teen claimed that Satan made him kill his sister. According to the report, Grazer undressed after killing Korol and drew demonic symbols with his sister's blood before the police arrived. During questioning, Grazer didn't show any sign of remorse, but instead, he responded with smiles.
Зачем так с сестрой расправились?
Grazer confidently asserted that he killed his sister to get rid of his doubt.
Он что, должен зарезать ее и убить?
Нет, избавиться от сомнений.
От каких сомнений?
Себе.
The police found drugs in the teen's house, which could also be the cause of Grazer's actions. However, the 18-year-old claimed he was aware of his actions.
Зачем вы так с ней расправились?
Потому что я должен. Себе должен. Я должен так себе. Я осознанно это сделал.
In Sherbinsky District Court in Moscow, Grazer was camped in a glass cage to prevent him from trying anything funny, but the teen had other plans.
Не лезь, не надо.
Куда ты лезешь?
Grazer's first attempt didn't work out as planned, but he was quick to find an alternative route.
Слышь, что говорю?
The teen managed to force himself through the roof of the glass cage and proceeded to struggle through the ceilings of the courtroom. The officers with him took prompt action to stop the defendant and struggled with him. Eventually, more officers arrived at the scene and tasered the 18-year-old teen.
Помогите! Помогите мне! Помогите мне! Помогите мне! Дайте руку! Дайте руку! Дайте мне руку!
Пускайся, говорю! Возьми, бля!
Куда нажать? Дайте руку!
Сейчас, я тебе дам руку.
Finally, Grazer gave up and pleaded with the officers to let him down.
Ко мне, бля!
А, все,
сука,
все, я отпускаю.
Я тебе дам сейчас.
Я отпускаюсь.
Быстро, блядь!
А где он залазит?
Да он сверху пролез через это.
Ты что,
дурак?
Открывайте, зайдите в клетку, блядь. Здесь, держите, вот здесь. Поди сюда. Поди сюда. Поди сюда, одевай. Штаны одевай. Далее.
After the failed attempt, the officers cuffed Grazer to prevent him from executing other plans he might have. In 2020, a judge sentenced Grazer to mandatory psychiatric medical treatment, and his punishment was reviewed every 6 months during his medical examination. Grazer's attempt to escape through the ceiling was a failure, but what happens when a suspect jumps from the second floor of the courthouse? And this takes us to the Meigs County Courthouse. This is Rashad Hawkins, who is facing trial for failure to pay child support. After Hawkins was sentenced, he was not willing to serve the jail time, so he found his way out of the courtroom before he could be detained. The convict took off to jump from the second floor and landed in the reception of the building. Hawkins got up quickly and ran out through the exit. A few moments later, court officials and deputies were all over the building and wondered what exactly was going on. Little did they know that a convict was on the run and would be nowhere to be found for a couple of weeks. On May 30th, 2021, 3 weeks after the escape, Hawkins was caught trespassing on a residential backyard in Harrodsburg. Just like he managed to escape in court, he struggled with the officers of the Harrodsburg Police Department before he was eventually apprehended. The officers later discovered that Hawkins was wanted in Tennessee after he was arrested. In addition to his charges in Tennessee, he was charged with third-degree criminal trespassing, first-degree evading police on foot, third-degree assault on a police officer, resisting arrest, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Hawkins' escape left deputies wandering around the court hallway, but what happens when a deputy breaks his ribs in pursuit of a convict? Just like the case of 34-year-old Nicholas Garrison, who was just sentenced to 6 months in jail for possession of meth charge in Greenfield, Ohio. After getting the sentence, the bailiffs were set to put Garrison in handcuffs at the back of the Highland County Courthouse before the 34-year-old made a smart move. As one of the bailiffs detaining Garrison turned away for a moment, he decided to take the easy way out. Garrison took off and ran through the courtroom all the way to the exit. The door leads to a set of stairs, so immediately Garrison bursts out of the courtroom. He finds his way down the stairs. The bailiff after him dived headfirst over the stair rail as he tried to grab the running convict, but Garrison managed to slip away. Garrison was able to get outside of the courthouse and went into hiding for days. 4 days later, the sheriffs received tips which led them to a motel in Clinton County. The 34-year-old was found at the hotel and taken into custody. He got additional charges of 1 count of escape, a third-degree felony, and 1 count of assault on a peace officer. Garrison was sentenced to an additional 6 years in prison in the same courtroom. As for the bailiff who tried to stop Garrison, he broke 4 ribs and suffered a minor concussion when he landed on the stairs. While Garrison might have fled from the courtroom due to fear of serving his jail time, the defendant in the next case slipped away from the deputy before entering the courthouse. This is Joel Sanchez Delgado, who was escorted in a wheelchair to the Pulaski County Courthouse in Little Rock, Arkansas. 41-year-old Delgado is facing charges of burglary and possession of firearms. The convict reportedly told the police that he was injured and could not move his legs, which explains why he is being transported in a wheelchair.
Fake illness or fake injury, that was most likely what happened.
As Delgado was being wheeled into the courthouse, he distracted the deputy by complaining that he had lost his shoe.
My shoe. What'd you say, OJ? My shoe. Hey, you see a shoe back there? Where is it?
As the officer bent down to help him with his shoe, Delgado did the unexpected. Delgado, who claimed he couldn't walk with his legs, jumped out of the wheelchair and made a run for it. The officer engaged in a foot pursuit after the 41-year-old, but he seems to have gone far.
Oh, I'm gonna catch you, baby. I'm finna shoot your bitch ass.
During the pursuit, the deputy couldn't call for backups because he had no radio on him. He had to find an alternative.
Hey, can you call the police for me? Call the police for me. Hey, call the police. Call the police. What way it go? Hey, Hook. The wheelchair dude got up and ran. Yeah, I couldn't catch his ass. And my radio was in the mother. I had my camera on though. He jumped the rail. It's on my camera, bro. Oh, what's that,
Unfortunately, the deputy was unable to catch up with him. Delgado was eventually caught 7 miles away from the court several hours later. He claimed he had an injury again and he couldn't walk. Delgado was taken away in an ambulance and was charged with felony escape in addition to his previous charges. It took the efforts of several deputies to apprehend Delgado, but what happens when a judge has to pursue evading defendants? Just like the case of Tanner Jacobson and Cody Howard, who are currently in court for driving on suspended licenses. The two defendants were handcuffed and dressed in prison uniforms, waiting for their sentences. As Judge Buzzard was about to read their sentence, Jacobson and Howard did what left everyone in disbelief. The two inmates bolted out of the courtroom with their handcuffs. However, Judge Buzzard also took immediate action and went after them. While the two were on the run outside the courtroom, Howard slipped and fell due to his uncomfortable shoes. The district judge followed Howard and Jacobson down the multiple flights of stairs toward the emergency exit. However, only one of the two was able to make it outside the court. Just when Howard was about to find his way through the door, the judge caught up with him. Jacobson made it outside, but he stopped a few blocks away and surrendered to the police.
I only get like 4 blocks and then I stopped. I just stopped on my own. I'm like, what am I doing right now?
One would think the two already had the escape plan before entering the court, but their confession during an interview says otherwise.
It was just a split second, decision. I don't even know why I did it. I would be out of here if I wouldn't have ran.
I didn't try to escape to get out. I tried to escape to get well, and I tried to do what I could, do what I could do to get my drug addiction.
The two inmates were initially sentenced to 30 days in jail, however. Their escape earned them a longer time in jail. Jacobson was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in prison for additional charges of a single count of second-degree escape. Howard's, on the other hand, was sentenced to 36.75 months behind bars on the charges of second-degree escape, first-degree trafficking in stolen property, and third-degree theft.